So you probably already know that we are dealing with a massive liquidity problem when it comes to certain types of silver today. In other words, if you're trying to sell, say, 90% silver, it might be a little difficult. And this has already been talked about a lot on YouTube, but what I'm going to share with you today is really kind of eye-opening. But it started the other day with this, where Elemental sent out this email to their customers and said, "Dear customer, as you may be aware, the silver market has recently experienced record high pricing and volumes, leading to industry-wide backlogs in processing. In response to these conditions, Elemental will temporarily pause purchases of sterling, scrap, and then this is where it's really unfortunate, 90% and 40% junk silver, effective immediately." It does, however, say that in response to these extraordinary market circumstances, our commitment is to continue supporting your business through all means possible, including continuing to buy and sell nearly all 999 silver bullion products through our mint and trading department. Now, like I said, you've probably already heard about this unless you've been living under a rock, because this was a few days ago and all the big YouTube channels have already talked about this. But I actually did something a step further, and I actually spoke to some coin shops who told me right now what they're paying for 90% silver and for silver rounds. And I'm going to share that with you today, but just a warning, it's not very nice. So guys, let's get into it. But really quick, if you are new here and if you like videos like this, you want to learn more about gold and silver, please do me a favor. Don't forget to go down below and make sure you are subscribed and hit that thumbs up button as well to help YouTube recommend this video to others. For the 5th year in a row, SD Bullion has given away a full monster box of 1-ounce silver coins. This year, they're doing another box of 1-ounce silver Tree of Lives, but this time, of course, it's for the 2025s. Now, as always, you have a full year to enter, but I suggest that you do it now by going to the link below so you don't forget. Thank you to SD Bullion for sponsoring my channel. Now look, it's no secret that I am a big fan of 90% silver. I've talked about it on this channel many times, but other things I've been talking about on this channel have been how a lot of dealers, and I actually spoke to a dealer specifically in June who said this on camera, have actually been taking their 90% silver that they have too much of and selling it not to wholesalers, but to refiners. Because like me and you, coin shops, and believe it or not, even refiners and wholesalers, they don't have unlimited pockets. And so they only have so much money that they can put into gold and silver. And when they get too much of that, they have no choice but to move it somewhere else. So coin shops generally will take their excess 90%, and this goes for other types of silver as well, but they'll generally take their excess and they'll move it to a wholesaler. And in the case of, the last few months, which I showed you and I just said, even directly to refiners. But now we have refiners, and keep in mind, Elemental, that letter that I just showed you, Elemental is not the only refiner that is not buying 90% silver right now. There's actually quite a few of them that have actually stopped buying 90% silver, sterling silver, scrap silver, so on and so forth. And so if they don't have the refiners to sell to, then they have to go to wholesalers, right? Well, one thing that you may not be considering is this. Whenever a wholesaler has too much silver, they also have been moving it to refiners. And now we have a situation, and this is creating a pretty big bottleneck in the liquidity of silver, specifically 90%. We're in a situation where there's really nowhere else for it to go. Coin shops can go to wholesalers, but wholesalers can no longer take it to refiners. And so if they don't have enough shops buying it back from them, they have no choice but to continue stockpiling it. Now, the big problem with that is that when you go to bullion dealers' websites or even coin shops and you ask them what spot price is, they're going to tell you the ask number. For example, if we go to SD Bullion's website here, you can see right now they have it at $51.98. But the wholesalers, what they're paying to the coin shops that deal with them, are buying it off of that bid price. And usually bid price and ask price are like 10 cents apart. But today, at least with that wholesaler, it's $2 difference. And when you figure it takes $1.40 face value of 90% to get to an ounce, that is a massive difference per dollar face value. So like I said, what I did today is I called 7 different coin shops, and I have the numbers right here. And what I wanted to find out is 2 things. One, what they were paying for 90 and what they were paying for rounds. And the reason I wanted to know what they were paying for rounds is so I could compare it and see how much more they're paying for rounds per ounce than they are 90%. But I also want to compare what they're paying for 90% versus what the wholesaler is paying, so you can get an idea of what's going on in each shop. And keep in mind, every shop's different, and I called 7 different states, but there's multiple coin shops in every single state. So this isn't necessarily indicative of the entire state. Make sure you always call around. But we're going to start with Missouri, and you'll actually notice that Missouri was paying a little bit more than what the wholesaler was offering, and they were paying $33.19. So that is $5.25 back of spot, which come out to $46.42. Remember that we are using ask price though. So 51.68 is what the wholesaler had. Actually, I believe that I wrote down spot price when I made these calls at 51.67. So Missouri was paying pretty close to what the wholesaler was paying, but look at our second shop in California. Now, they were only paying $30 per dollar. That comes out to $41.96 or $9.72 back of spot. If you go to this shop and sell your 90%, you're losing almost $10 an ounce. This third shop in Florida was 32x, so $44.76 is what they were paying, per ounce, but $32 per dollar. That is $6.91 back of spot. Illinois was not even buying it all. And they specifically said, right now, we're just not buying 90%. We have too much. We can't get rid of it, so on and so forth. So we literally are running into a situation where this is a shop that quite literally told me, no, we are not buying it. That is crazy. Well, I guess it's really not crazy given what we just showed you. Looking at shop 5, they were $31.50 per dollar, $44.06. Shop 6, $30 per dollar, $41.96 or $9.72 back. And our 7th shop was in Washington. Oh, by the way, that was Nebraska, Minnesota, and now Washington. $43.36 per ounce or $31 per dollar for $8.31 back of spot. Now, let's take a look at what they were selling rounds for and compare the difference. Buying rounds for. This is what they were paying. So this shop told me $48.62. I'm figuring based on what I had spot at when I started the calls, and this was the first shop I called, so it's probably really close or right on the money. We were $48.62, or I'm figuring $3.10 back of spot. So they were paying $2.20 more per ounce for rounds than for 90%. Our second shop in California was $6.71 difference. They were paying $3 back. That's $6.71 more per ounce for rounds than 90%. Our third shop was $3.91 more. They were paying $3 back as well, but remember, they were paying more per dollar. Our fourth shop in Illinois, we can't really make the comparison because they weren't buying 90% at all, but I will note that they were buying rounds for $4 back a spot, so that's really rough. Our fifth shop in Nebraska was paying $47.75. And again, I kind of estimated maybe spot went up 8 cents here. So I estimated that was $4 back of spot. They told me $47.75. These shops specifically told me, what back of spot they were paying. This one said $47.75, which comes out to a difference of $3.69. Our sixth shop in Minnesota here was paying $3 back for rounds, a difference of $6.71 over their 90%. And then our second shop in Washington was paying $49 per rounds. That's actually the best, I think, of all of them at what I estimated to be $2.75 back of spot. But the difference between their rounds and 90% was $5.64. So looking at all these numbers, you can see every single shop was paying a lot more for 90%, and every single shop, or for rounds, was paying a lot more for rounds, and every single shop was buying rounds, whereas the shop in Illinois wasn't even buying 90% at all. So like I said, I'm a big fan of 90% silver, but there is no question about it that if you are in the market to sell your 90% silver right now, it's going to be kind of tough, because when wholesalers are paying so far back of bid price, and you have shops paying so far back of spot, and then you consider that you have a lot of dealers that right now, I've seen not just specials for spot price 90%, but specials for 90% silver back of spot price recently. When you factor all that in, it's going to be really hard to sell your own 90% silver, because even if you just want to sell it to somebody else directly, it'd be hard to get even spot price for it when they can just go online and order it for less than spot, unless they just want to deal in person and use cash and take advantage of that. But if they're not worried about that, they're just going to go get the best deal they can, and that's going to make it really hard for you to sell your 90% silver. So there is no question with silver price going up so quickly, and it's back a little bit today, but it's went up really fast these last few months. It is creating a liquidity problem with silver, because I believe that you have refiners, you have wholesalers, you have shops, dealers, all worried that there is going to be a retrace and we're going to see silver pull back, and they're trying to protect themselves right now, no doubt about it. So that's what we're seeing in the market. At least that's what my thoughts are. But as always, I would love to know what you think. So guys, please do me a favor and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about what's going on. And like I said earlier, if you haven't done so yet, please do me a favor. Don't forget to like and subscribe and help us continue to grow. And other than that, have a great day, stack long, stack heavy, and we'll see you next time.